Hey everyone, what's good? Buckle up, because today I'm dropping you into a story that's hands down one of the darkest, most gut-punching pieces of history I've ever tackled. You know those fancy Chinese palace dramas on Netflix? The ones with swoon-worthy emperors, shimmering silk gowns, and all that steamy forbidden romance? Yeah, toss that fairy tale nonsense out the window. We're diving into the real stuff, the raw, soul-crushing, horrifying truth of what life was like for women in ancient China's imperial courts. Picture this. You're just a 12-year-old kid in a nowhere village. Your days are all about herding goats, hauling water buckets, and helping your family scrape by. Then one day, bam, a dazzling caravan rolls in like something out of a sci-fi flick. Men in glittering robes step out, eye you up like you're a cow at auction, toss some silver coins to your parents, and rip you from your home. From that second, your life, it's not yours anymore. It's a straight-up descent into hell. Our heroine? Let's call her May. That's not her real name, though. History didn't even bother recording it. Why would they? To the empire, concubines weren't people. They were objects, like vases or jewelry, only useful until they broke. This nightmare plays out in the Ming Dynasty, that powerhouse era from the 1300s to 1600s, when China was all about grand palaces and iron-fisted rule. When you hear Ming Dynasty, what pops into your head? The Forbidden City, right? Those towering red walls, golden tiled roofs, a dazzling symbol of power and culture. But behind that postcard-perfect image, a machine of cruelty, exploitation, and death that chewed up thousands of young girls like May. Ready to go deeper? Let's do this. May's village was the definition of rough. Think dirt floors, straw roofs, and families working sunrise to sunset just to eat a bowl of rice. At 12, May was already pulling her weight and then some. She'd trudge miles to fetch water, her skinny arms straining under heavy buckets. She'd grind grain by hand, her fingers blistered from the rough stones. She'd chase after goats and pigs, dodging mud puddles in fields that smelled of earth and sweat. Her hands were rough as sandpaper, her face tanned dark by the sun. No big deal, just life. She wasn't dreaming of princesses or palaces, she was too busy surviving. But one random day, everything changes. Whispers start buzzing through the village like static. Kids scatter, hiding behind doors. Parents hush their chatter, eyes darting nervously. Then, from the horizon, a cloud of dust rises, and a procession rolls in. Carriages decked out in gold, horses snorting, banners flapping. Imagine it. Your whole world is mud and straw, and suddenly this glittering parade crashes in like aliens landing. What would you feel? Excitement? Fear? For May, it's the start of a nightmare she never saw coming. Out steps this official, and let me tell you, this guy's vibe is ice cold. His eyes, they don't see humans, they see livestock. He struts through the village like he owns it, sizing up every girl aged 12 to 15. He's checking teeth like you'd check a horse's, poking skin for blemishes, eyeing posture like it's a military inspection. And the big one? Feet. May's feet were still natural, unbound, strong from years of running through fields. You ever heard of foot binding? Oh man, brace yourself, this is one of the most horrifying things you'll ever hear. It was this brutal custom where they'd take a young girl's feet, sometimes as young as 5, and bend the toes backward, under the foot, wrapping them tight in cloth bandages. Bones would snap like twigs, flesh would rot, infections would fester. Why? Because tiny mangled feet, called lotus feet, no bigger than 3 inches, were considered beautiful, a status symbol for rich men who wanted dainty, helpless wives. Sounds insane, right? It was. And it wasn't just a quirky tradition. It was torture, plain and simple, leaving women crippled for life, hobbling in agony just to look pretty. Parents did this to their own daughters, thinking it was love, prepping them for marriage. But it was a prison of pain. This official sees potential in May. Her unbound feet, perfect for shaping into those perfect lotus feet later. Her straight posture, her quiet demeanor. It's like she's a blank canvas for their twisted ideals. He doesn't ask, he doesn't negotiate, he just tosses a pouch of silver to her dad. payment for a human life, and says, "We're taking her." That's it. No tearful goodbyes, no chance to grab a favorite toy or hug her mom. May's yanked from her world and thrown onto a rickety cart with a dozen other girls, all 12 to 15, all just as scared and confused. The air's thick with silence. No one dares speak. They don't know where they're going or what's waiting, but deep in their bones, they feel it. Something awful is coming. The journey to Beijing stretches on for weeks, bouncing over rough roads, baking under the sun or soaked in rain. Food, maybe a handful of rice if they're lucky. Sleep, curled up on the cart, shivering as guards with cold eyes watch their every move. At night, you'd hear a quiet sob from one girl, quickly hushed. One wrong glance, one loud cry, and who knows what those guards might do. Can you imagine it? Being 12, torn from home, surrounded by strangers, headed to a fate you can't even name. Finally, the forbidden city comes into view. Picture a fortress so massive it dwarfs your entire village. Red walls stretching forever, golden roofs glinting like fire, gates so tall they block the sky. It's breathtaking, right? A marvel of architecture, the heart of the empire. But to May, it's a monster's lair, its jaws wide open to swallow her whole. As soon as they step inside, the girls are handed over to eunuchs. These guys, castrated men who ran the palace's inner workings, were like robots. No warmth, no humanity, just efficiency. They treated the girls like cargo, sorting them with blank stares. The inspections get even more invasive now, clothes stripped off, every inch of their bodies poked and prodded. A freckle, you're out. A slightly crooked tooth, gone. These lucky rejects were supposedly sent home, but after being sold by their families, where do you think they really ended up? Brothels, slavery? Worse, May passes the test. Her value is confirmed like she's a prize cow. Cause for celebration? Nope. This is where the real horror kicks in, foot binding. Folks, I can't even begin to describe the agony of this. At 12, May's feet are grabbed by rough hands. They bend her toes back with brutal force. Crack, snap, the bones break like dry branches. They wrap her feet in tight cloth, soaked in some foul herbal mix to soften the skin. Every day they tighten it more, crushing her feet smaller and smaller. Flesh rots, pus oozes, the pain so bad it's like her feet are on fire. But screaming? Not allowed. The first rule they drill into her, swallow your pain. Be silent. This wasn't just physical torture, it was about breaking her spirit, turning her into a docile doll. And it wasn't a one-day thing, months of this, her feet mangled into grotesque shapes, infections creeping in. Some girls lost toes, others their whole feet to gangrene. And this wasn't just a palace thing. Across China, girls as young as 5 went through this, their parents believing it was the key to a good life. Can you wrap your head around that? Parents crushing their daughters' bones out of love. It's madness. Alongside the physical torture, May's thrown into a crash course in palace life. They teach her how to bow so low her forehead kisses the floor, how to pour tea without spilling a drop, how to walk on those ruined feet like she's floating. Even breathing has rules, soft, shallow, barely there. Keep your eyes down, your voice a whisper, your movements minimal. One slip-up, a clumsy step, a loud word, and the bamboo rods come out, whipping her until she's bruised. But cry out. Nope, that's another rule. No tears, no sound, just take it. Be a perfect, lifeless puppet. A year of this, and May's not the same kid. That 13-year-old who used to laugh while chasing goats. She's gone. In her place is a girl with cold, cautious eyes, always watching, always calculating. Her biggest lesson? To survive in this snake pit, stay invisible. Blend into the shadows, don't draw attention. But fate's got other plans. 3 years later, at 16, the call comes. A eunuch appears at her door, voice flat. The emperor summons you. No warning, no prep time, just those chilling words. She's dragged to a preparation room where silent maids scrub her skin raw, douse her in heavy perfumes, and drape her in shimmering silk. It's like they're prepping a sacrifice for some ancient ritual. Can you imagine the terror? A 16-year-old girl marched to the chambers of a man 3 times her age, an emperor with absolute power over her life and death. No say, no way out. What happens that night? I won't spell it out, you know. It's grim, it's heartbreaking, and it's just the beginning. Weeks later, everything flips. May's moved to a better room, gets a personal maid named Liane, who, spoiler alert, will become her lifeline. Why the upgrade? She's pregnant. The palace buzzes with the news, and suddenly all eyes are on her. Sounds like a glow-up, right? Wrong. In this world, attention is a death sentence. Bearing a child, especially a son, ties you to the throne's succession game. A dangerous place to be. The emperor's harem was massive. Sometimes thousands of women, all competing for favor, all under the thumb of the Empress Dowager. A woman who could end lives with a single word. May gives birth to a boy. And the labor? Pure agony, alone, no comfort, no medicine. The second he's born, he's ripped from her arms. No chance to hold him, to feel that motherly bond. He's whisked away to be raised by wet nurses and eunuchs, a prince of the empire, not her son. She's just a vessel, a name on a list. Mother of a prince. Her status rises, but so does the danger. Now she's a target. Other concubines, burning with jealousy, sharpen their knives. The Empress Dowager, a veteran of palace politics who's been pulling strings for decades, eyes May like a hawk. She's summoned to the Dowager's chambers, and let me tell you, that room feels like a freezer. The air's thick with threat as the Dowager grills her. Who do you talk to? What's your daily routine? What's in your head? Every question's a trap, one wrong answer, and it's curtains. May's heart's pounding, but she nails the responses, her voice steady, her eyes down. She knows one slip means death, not just for her, but maybe her son too. The Dowager's message is clear. I'm watching you. Step out of line and you're done. Then comes the first real crisis. A rival concubine, let's call her Jeanne, hatches a plot to take May down. She frames her for cursing the emperor, a crime that's basically a death warrant. One night, guards storm May's room, planting evidence, weird herbs tied to black magic. Before she knows it, she's dragged before the Dowager, an executioner standing by with a blade gleaming. Jen's in the corner, smirking, thinking she's won. The tension's suffocating. Can you feel it? Your life's on the line, a sword inches from your neck. What do you do? May's frozen, but then, boom! Liane, her loyal maid, bursts in with a stolen letter that lays out Jen's whole scheme. The room flips. Jen's dragged out, screaming, and executed on the spot. May's saved, but relief? Nah. She's shaking, realizing this place is a death trap. Someone's always watching, always plotting. And her son, he's a pawn in this deadly game too. 6 years grind by. May's 22 now, a different person. That wide-eyed village girl? Long gone. She's a survivor, a master of palace politics, reading every glance, every whisper. The harem's a revolving door. New girls pour in every year, fresh meat for the grinder. The emperor's health is fading, and the court's buzzing with tension. A new ruler means a new power struggle, and everyone's picking sides. May gets rare glimpses of her son, now 6, but he's practically a stranger. Raised by nannies and eunuchs, he barely knows her face. Every time she sees him, her heart breaks a little more. Her baby, stolen by the palace. She makes a vow, she'll get him out of this hell, no matter the cost. But trouble's never far. Zhen's old allies strike again, framing May for poisoning the emperor. This time, the setup's slicker. Herbs planted in her room, tied to the emperor's mysterious illness. She's hauled before the Dowager again, the executioner's blade so close she can feel its chill. The Dowager lays out a brutal deal. Confess, and your son lives. Refuse, and you both die. Imagine that choice, your child's life or your own integrity. It's a mother's worst nightmare. May refuses. She knows confessing brands her son a traitor's kid, doomed to die or worse. She holds firm, staring death in the face. And then, like a miracle, Liane comes through again, clutching letters that expose the real culprits. The plot crumbles, May's spared, but she's done waiting. It's time for the ultimate gamble, smuggling her son out of the Forbidden City. Folks, this is next-level dangerous. Sneaking a prince out of the palace. It's not just suicide, it's a death sentence for you, your family, everyone you've ever met. If they catch you, it's torture, execution, your whole clan wiped out. But May's made up her mind. Her son will not grow up in this cage. With Lian, she plans meticulously. Secret passages through the palace's maze-like walls, contacts on the outside who can hide a kid. The night comes. May holds her sleeping boy one last time, his little chest rising and falling, his face peaceful. She memorizes every feature, knowing this is goodbye. Her heart's shattering, but she can't cry. Tears would give her away. She hands him to a trusted ally, watching as he disappears into the dark. Can you feel that ache? That moment when you let go of everything you love for a chance at their freedom? It works. Her son escapes, spirited away to a quiet farm far from Beijing. He grows up running through fields, his feet strong and unbound, laughing under open skies. May's victory, her one shining moment. But the palace doesn't forgive. 3 years later, at 25, she's dead. The official word, illness. The truth? They let her rot. Without her son, her value plummeted. Her rooms got colder, her food scarcer, her foot wounds, still festering from years of binding, went untreated. Infections spread, her body weakened, and nobody cared. Her lamp, a symbol of status, was snuffed out, a signal she was disposable. She died alone, in a dark corner of the palace, her body racked with pain. But out there, in some distant village, a boy was running free, his laughter echoing. May, in her final moments, might have thought, "They tried to erase me, to make me a nameless trinket." But a whispered name is a seed. Planted in the world, it grows into a forest. That's the real story of a Ming Dynasty concubine, folks. Not some romantic drama, it was a life of dehumanization, pain, and quiet rebellion. How many girls like May were there? Hundreds, thousands. Their names were erased, but their suffering was real, etched into the shadows of history. Some, like May, clawed out small victories, saving their kids even if they couldn't save themselves. And get this wasn't just a palace problem. The whole society was rigged against women. Girls were seen as burdens, often killed at birth. Survivors? No education, just sewing and cooking lessons, prepped for marriage like livestock. Foot binding wasn't a palace exclusive, it was everywhere, parents crushing their daughters' feet to make them marriageable. May was lucky to bear a son, gaining temporary status. Those who didn't, left to waste away in the palace's corners, forgotten. When a new emperor took the throne, old concubines were sometimes buried alive with the dead ruler, a so-called honor. Once you entered the palace, it was a life sentence. No escape, no freedom, no choice. Can you imagine it? From 12 to 25, 13 years without a single free decision. What to eat, where to sleep, who to talk to, even when to use the bathroom, all decided by someone else. And the kicker? Some girls were brainwashed to think this was a privilege. You're chosen. You serve the emperor, they'd say, as if wearing silk and eating fancy meals made up for being a prisoner. But a golden cage is still a cage. May saw through it. Her son's escape was her rebellion, her way of saying, "Not my boy. He'll know freedom, even if I never will." What's wild is that humans built this system. Emperors, sure, but also fathers selling daughters for a handful of coins, officials enforcing the rules, even mothers binding feet out of love. Why? Power, money, tradition. It's just how things are, they'd shrug. But that's no excuse. Treating a human like property is never okay. Look at Lian, though. She was in the same messed-up world, but chose to risk everything to save May. That's proof it's not just the system. It's the choices we make. Do you go along with cruelty, or do you fight back, even in small ways? Now you might be thinking, phew, glad that's ancient history. But hold up, the echoes are still here. Women around the world are still forced into marriages, denied education, abused in systems that see them as less. And it's not just women. Power crushes the weak everywhere, whether it's through trafficking, exploitation, or tradition masking injustice. May's story isn't just a dusty tale from 500 years ago, it's a warning for today. We can be May, fighting against impossible odds. We can be Leon, sticking our necks out to help. Or we can be the villains, Jen, plotting destruction, or May's dad, selling his kid for silver. It's our call. May's last words stick with me. A whispered name is a seed, and seeds grow into forests. She died nameless, but her love, her sacrifice planted something bigger. Those quiet acts of defiance, hers and thousands like her, helped topple that brutal system. Footbinding was banned in the early 1900s, the harem system died with the Qing dynasty's fall in 1912, and women fought tooth and nail for rights like education and voting. We're not done yet, there's still work to do, but those changes started with people like May, refusing to let the next generation suffer. So what's the takeaway for us, chilling in the 21st century? If you see someone struggling, be a lian. Reach out, even if it's scary. If you're in a tough spot, channel May. Don't give up, even when it's dark. There's light at the end, a chance to run free like May's sun under open skies. This story's heavy, but it's real, and it's why we keep telling it. To remember, to learn, to make sure this kind of horror stays in the past. More wild history coming your way next time. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Catch you later. Okay, let's bust some myths wide open. Those dramas paint concubines as cunning seductresses in love triangles, right? Total fiction. These were kids, 12, 13 years old, snatched from home, their bodies broken, their choices stolen. Imagine the village scene, dust choking the air, horses snorting, parents too scared or desperate to fight back. May's dad takes the silver and her world ends. That betrayal, it stings deep. Can you feel it? Your own family handing you over like you're nothing. The journey to Beijing's a blur of fear. Picture yourself crammed in that cart, the stench of sweat and dust, guards barking orders. No one talks. Fear locks their lips. Nights are worse, curled up on hard wood, hearing whimpers in the dark. What's waiting at the end? No clue, just dread. The Forbidden City's reveal is a punch, its beauty a cruel trick. Those golden roofs, a trap, not a prize. May's heart must have sank, seeing those walls close in. Eunuchs were the palace's gears, cold, calculating, some rising to insane power, but in the harem, they're enforcers, stripping girls of dignity. The inspections, humiliating, stripped naked, poked like meat. A scar, a blemish, and you're discarded. But to where? Not home. May passes, but it's no win. Footbinding starts, and it's a horror show. Bones snapping, the smell of decay, screams you can't let out. Every day they tighten the cloth, her feet shrinking, her pain exploding. She's 12, folks. 12. How does a kid endure that? And it wasn't just her. Across China, girls' feet were crushed, their futures hobbled, all for beauty. Parents wept while doing it, thinking it was for their daughter's good. Twisted, right? Training's another layer of hell. Every move's choreographed. Bow like this, step like that, breathe just so. One mistake and the whip comes down. But no crying, no flinching. Be a statue. May learns fast, her spirit bending but not breaking. By 13, she's a shadow, eyes sharp, always scanning for threats. Survival means fading into the background, but the palace won't let her hide. The Emperor's call at 16. Terrifying. Imagine being dolled up like a ritual offering, marched to a stranger's bed, a man with godlike power. No consent, just obedience. That night scars her, but the aftermath? Pregnancy changes everything. A son means status, but also a bullseye. Lian, her maid, becomes her rock. Loyal, brave, a sister in this nightmare. The birth is brutal, no support, just pain. Her baby's torn away instantly, raised by strangers. May's left empty, a mother in name only. The palace turns deadly. Rivals like Jen plot her downfall, their jealousy venomous. The Empress Dowager's stare could freeze blood. She's ruled for decades, a master manipulator. May's grilled like a criminal, every word a tightrope. She survives, but then Jen's scheme hits. Fake evidence, accusations of witchcraft. Dragged before the Dowager, blade ready, May's life hangs by a thread. Jen's smug, victory in sight. But Lian, heroic Lian, sneaks in with proof, a letter that flips the script. Jen's executed, May breathes, but the fear's permanent now. Her son's a target too. Years pass, and May's a pro at this game. At 22, she's seen it all. New girls, same horrors. The emperor's dying, the court's a powder keg. Her son's distant, a prince she can't reach. Every visit breaks her more, she vows to save him. Then Jen's crew strikes again, another frame job, this time poison. The evidence is tight, the blade closer. The Dowager's offer is a gut punch. Confess, save your kid. Refuse, lose everything. May's choice? Defiance. She knows confession dooms her son. Lian saves her again. More letters, more truth. May's done playing defense. It's escape time. Smuggling a prince out. Insane risk. Caught, and it's not just her. Everyone she knows dies horribly. But May and Lian plot like masterminds. Secret tunnels, outside allies, perfect timing. The night's electric with danger, guards everywhere. One sound could end it. May holds her boy, his face calm in sleep. She can't speak, can't cry, just hands him over, watching him vanish. It works. He's free, growing up on a farm, feet unbound, heart light. May's triumph, but the palace breaks her. At 25, she's gone. Illness, they say, but it's neglect, cold rooms, no food, infections eating her alive, her lamp's out, a sign she's nothing. She dies alone, but her son, he's running, laughing, free. May's last thought, they tried to erase me, but my seed's planted. It'll grow. This is the concubine's life, no glamour, just pain. Thousands like May, names lost, but their fight mattered. Society mirrored it, girls killed at birth, survivors bound and sold. Some concubines were buried alive with dead emperors. No escape, ever. Brainwashed to think it's honor, but May saw the cage. Her son's freedom was her rebellion. Humans made this, emperors, fathers, traditions wait. Lian's courage shows choice matters. Today we see echoes, trafficking, forced marriages. May's story screams, act, be Lian, help, be May, fight. Her seeds grew, bindings gone, harems ended, rights won. But the fight's not over. Plant your seeds, folks. Make forests.